Let me ask you a question. How many times, have you had that light bulb moment where you discover something so significant that it was right in front of you the whole time, even though you couldn't see it before? But now that you do, just everything seems to make sense, you know? And your enlightened self can coast easier because the stress is just a thing of the past. You know, like when the wheel was invented. Well, because it's one of those breakthroughs that helped this man go from the prospect of separation and living alone to the best place he could imagine.
Sorry. Overwhelmingly good. Overwhelmingly good. Like back to when we were first married and dating. It just incredibly good. We're planning our future. You know, we just had a grandson. You know, it's just we're looking forward to retirement. we just, it's just we have that connection again that we used to have. You know, that we had way back in the beginning.
In this video, I'll share 4 powerful truths that Jim applied to himself to win his wife back. The 4th one, by the way, is a vital hack that he'd just been overlooking for years, so I guarantee you don't see it. Understanding this is the difference between your wife being closed off and frustrated to being softer, delicate, radiant, and engaging with you again. And much like the invention of the wheel, it will move things in the right direction with your wife, toward the land of intimacy. All right, but listen, if you don't apply this hack in the video, then I'm promising you one thing, you'll continue to struggle with this like most men do, as if trying to haul a wheelbarrow of giant boulders without the wheels. Okay, so let's just jump in. To bring you up to speed, Jim and his wife were struggling in their marriage for years because they were missing just the key to happiness. It got to the point where they had multiple talks of separation, back and forth, back and forth. I think you know. They tried counseling, reading books, but they couldn't navigate their way out of the fog, so to speak, to those lasting sunny blue skies.
My wife got to the point where she said, I'm moving to the guest room. And she said she had a date in mind that she wasn't going to share with me, but that she thought, I've given myself a date that if we can't figure something else better, and she was just going to go move, have a life on her own. So it's just like, man, we both want to be happier. How do we make that happen? And we just had been through several rounds of reading and counseling and doing stuff that just couldn't quite make it click and sustain.
But even before reaching out to me, Jim learned something crucial in transforming his relationship. Something I mentioned in a lot of my videos that really resonated with him. The first step on your road to marriage recovery, and a lot of men actually wrestle with this idea. I call it cognitive accountability. And it's what caused Jim to reach out to me in the first place. Check it out.
And I saw some of your videos, and you see a lot of these videos out there, and they kind of have different flavors, right? And a lot of them are anti or are very down on women, or they just don't resonate. And yours were about working on yourself, taking accountability for what you can do. And I had been for several months diving into stoicism, right? And so it really aligned with that for me to say, hey, I can control what I can control and I can't worry about the rest.
You see, Jim is a big stoic. I love stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, one of my favorite books, Meditations. Anyways, you should check it out, short book. But he took that cognitive accountability. He was actually never blaming his wife. So the first step was easier for him than it was for a lot of guys. It's so logical that if you want success in life, you take accountability for your actions. And
right, absolutely.
But
I know everywhere else in my life.
Right, that's the thing, right? Yeah. But there's something about being victimized, right? Or like something happened to you negative and being like, oh, this wasn't about me. It makes you feel better in the moment. But it's one of those things like, eating bad food. It's like in the moment it feels good, but then you feel like crap later on, right? And so if you haven't heard me talk about this concept yet, when it comes to who's at fault, it's always perspective. There's no actual truth to this. I know that can get controversial with some instances, but we're not going to go there. When it comes to the relationship, you must take full accountability. So yes, Jim was already in a good spot mentally to make the radical changes he needed, right? But the second lesson uncovered the false blueprint Jim always had underneath, something that was navigating him in the wrong direction. You see, he assumed good husbands needed to do certain things, and he had no idea how damaging those certain things were in the long run with his wife. Here it is in Jim's words.
It just helped me realize that it wasn't like I wasn't acting according to my values, is I had a really, really wrong value in there, is that I defined a good husband and a good man was someone who could absorb anything, take anything, do whatever my wife wanted, right? It was to please her regardless and take up no space and have no needs. And that was how I showed my strength. And it just was like a light switch for me. Like, wait a minute, this isn't helping my wife at all. In fact, it's putting a burden on her. And I don't feel good when I'm doing it either.
You see, Jim learned that what he thought was a core value that made him a good husband was actually getting in the way of him stepping into his confident masculine self. Instead of always being a yes man and a people pleaser, look, he always put his wife's needs before his own. That's just the plain, simple part of it. And he learned to hone that yang energy. Now, when I say yang energy, in Taoist philosophy, yang is the active dynamic masculine force in the universe, right? It's another way to say that, contrasting with the receptive, passive, and feminine receiving energy of yin. And your wife, no matter if she has masculine traits or not, whether she likes making decisions, whether she's stubborn, closed off, she wants you to show up authentically and make decisions for her. Check it out.
You know, what she was asking for me was to show up authentically, right?
Because when I would say, elaborate on that, Jim? Elaborate.
Yeah. It's, where do you want to go on vacation? In so many words, wherever you want to go. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to? So now she's got to make every decision, right? And I'm just this mush pile that's not giving her, right? I mean, that's what it's like. So now she's got to do all the thinking, all the decisions, and it's all on her to make it a good vacation or a good evening out or good, because I just abdicated, thinking that I was being so nice by being so flexible. And I was just absolutely making things miserable for her.
Look, she wants you to make decisions, all right? When it comes to this masculine polarity, there's a reason why you don't want to upset her or let her lead, stemming from maybe a denial of your own masculine traits growing up. So someone in your life was that hyper-masculine man or person that was abusive towards you or neglectful. And so you don't subconsciously want to be that person. And look at how harnessing that yang energy helped with their interactions.
And so that's why she would start to criticize and stuff, to the point where I'm like, well, that was one of my first boundaries. Like, well, if she talks to me like this, I'm going to set a boundary about that and do this. Guess what happened when I stopped people pleasing? I've never had an opportunity to say anything about my boundary. It just hasn't happened because I haven't put her in that position of having to make all the decisions and not feeling like she has a partner there and not being the guy I was in the beginning of our relationship when I had opinions of my own and I wanted to do things.
While we're talking about shifts, by the way, this third hack is a mental shift that you can make that will instantly help ease the conflict and tension with your wife. If you practice thinking this way, you will pass her test every time. Okay? Every single time. Listen to our conversation about it.
It was in some of your videos. I saw it repeatedly in some of the group calls. It's like, hey, here are some places I'd like to go on vacations and the things that are important to me. What do you think? How do we plan this together? Right? We're not arguing about it. But what do you want from the vacation? How do we both get what we want? How do we create this together?
I really want to expand on this right here because it is such a game changer in conversation. It's the idea of like the competitive versus collaborative frame. That a lot of guys, when they have a problem with their wife, there's tension, there's disconnect, there's testing. It's like, okay, now it's me versus her. Just simply shifting the mindset of like, okay, it's me and her versus the problem. There's a problem here, yes. whether it's the behavior or reaction. Let's overcome this problem, right? The lesson here is shifting your mindset to a collaborative frame, not a competitive one, okay? It's not you versus her, it's us, it's we. And just that simple shift, it completely changes your perception of everything, of her, of yourself, of the marriage. And when you're in that collaborative frame, you lose tension, you relax, you do want the best of both for you, and you come to a higher echelon of consciousness, to be honest. And she needs that as a leader, for you to be the one that's going to guide her out of those negative emotions, because so far you haven't. Like you have the capability to change your behavior. Yep. Right. And so when she's pissed off that you did something, it's like, oh yeah, I could change that. Like she's not attacking me, but so much us guys, especially like our ego gets in the way of like, oh, she's saying I'm a bad person, or I'm like, I'm not a good listener, I'm not a good husband, I'm not a good lover, I'm not a good this. And it's like, it's not what she's saying. In fact, every criticism is request in disguise in the feminine, right? Now, shifting your mindset to a collaborative frame is a great way to approach problem solving when you need it. To flip the script on those tough conversations with her and view you both as a team. But if she continues coming at you with emotions blazing together, she's upset or something, or someone at work, or just doesn't involve you, or she just needs to vent, oftentimes solving her problem is the wrong approach, especially when she's emotional. When you do this new approach as well, she's going to test you. And this is what Jim realized when he was this wrong for years, but opening his eyes to this was honestly a breakthrough moment for him. This led him to an experience of deeper connection with his wife, where conflict and tension just give way to the harmony and release. And you and your wife are riding together smoothly towards real connection and intimacy. An intimacy that you didn't think was possible, or that you used to have, but you lost it. And his wife admitted that what he discovered here was 100% true. Now, here's what Jim says about that.
How to just, when my wife's upset, to not try to stop that, not try to fix it, not try to get her into a good mood quickly, but let her have those feelings and not be afraid of them, and just sit with her in them, let her have them, and not feel like, oh, I got to stop this, I got to make it better.
Yeah, and I think, man, I don't know if this is exclusive to men or women. I try not to use like completely, those statements, but I have seen that generally women want to experience a range of emotions, like all the emotional spectrum, right? Where us men were like we want the peace, the challenge, right, a little bit, and oftentimes when your wife is in those emotions, she may not consciously say that, but she does want to like work through the emotions. Like that is what an emotionally intelligent person does. Was generally women are more emotionally intelligent than us men, right?
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is nurturing emotional diversity, okay? And this is a vital truth that most husbands overlook because they're not even aware of it. That your wife wants to sit with her emotions. She wants to experience that roller coaster. For the feminine, that's part of life. She doesn't want you to try and get her out of that place.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said to me. The analogy she used was, it's like a heart rate monitor or heartbeat monitor. It's going up and down. And when it goes like this, when the relationship goes like this, that's death, whereas men kind of look, oh, that's good. We're peaceful. We're nothing, she's like, no, I want to feel the big happy, the big sad, the angry, the happy with you,
Now, when Jim learned this, it was huge. It was like just this light bulb moment above his head, okay? Something that was in front of him the whole time, and a game changer in the way he connected with his wife. Think of the iconic scene in The Sixth Sense. And by the way, spoiler alert for the movie, but if you haven't watched it now, but when Dr. Malcolm Crowe, played by Bruce Willis, discovers the truth about himself, this moment is a pivotal twist in the film where Crowe realizes, and here it is, that he's been dead the entire time, and he thought he was helping a young boy who could see ghosts. Now, this realization is mind-blowing and changes the entire context of the film up until that point. As Crowe sifts through his past memories and interactions, he started connecting the dots. It's a powerful moment that captures the essence of discovering a deep truth about one's own life. And it fits well with the missed signals and unrecognized truths that they're with your wife all along, that you must allow her to nurture her emotional diversity. That when you recognize and looking back, not trying to blame yourself or put guilt on you, but you were pulling out of her own emotional experience, a part of her life, because you couldn't sit with that negativity, because you couldn't sit with her problems, because you wanted to feel okay. You weren't doing her a favor by trying to make her feel better. You were doing yourself a favor. You were being selfish, which is why you were going in your head. Because when you're in your heart and out of your head, you're in the present moment, you're not going to try there and change her. You're going to just sit with her and hold that masculine container. And if you haven't heard me say it to this point, man, that is the most powerful thing you can do for her, okay? To cultivate that. And you can learn to do this on your own, sure. But if speed is important to you, urgency, which, I don't know how to tell you if it is or not, but I don't want you to live with regret. So if you want to set up a call with our team, that'll help you out.